The alien armada moved through space like a dark storm. Hundreds of massive warships flew in perfect formation. Their hulls were sharp and bright, marked with symbols of past victories. These aliens were conquerors. They had crushed many worlds. No fleet had ever stopped them. At the center of the armada was the command ship Zarkal Supreme. Inside, High Commander Threx watched the stars drift past the main viewing screen. His posture was calm. His kind had ruled this sector of space for centuries. Today was supposed to be another easy conquest. "Status report," Threx said. "All ships at full power," replied an officer. "No enemy signals detected. The target system is quiet." Threx nodded. Quiet systems were weak systems. That was the rule of the galaxy. Then, without warning, alarms echoed across the bridge. "Unknown objects detected," another officer shouted. "Multiple signatures appearing ahead." Threx's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The screen shifted. Dark shapes slowly emerged from the blackness of space. At first, they looked like shadows. Then the sensors adjusted. Silence fell across the bridge. The ships were enormous, bigger than any vessel the Armada had ever seen. They were not fast. They were not moving at all. They simply existed floating like mountains in the void. Their surfaces were dark metal, covered in deep lines and heavy armor plates. Soft golden lights glowed from thousands of small windows. "How many?" Threx asked quietly. The officer swallowed. 6. No, 8 main warships, and dozens of smaller escorts behind them. Threx leaned forward. This made no sense. No race placed such slow, heavy ships at the front of a battle. No shields were visible. No weapons were extended. "Identify the species," Threx ordered. "Running scans now," the officer replied. "Design does not match any known empire." Seconds passed. Then, minutes. The silence grew heavy. "These ships," another officer said carefully, "they are not reacting to our presence." Threx felt something unfamiliar stir in his chest. Irritation. Or was it unease? "Open a communication channel," he said. "Let them know they face the Zarkal Armada." The officer obeyed. A powerful broadcast signal was sent across space. There was no response. The human warships did not move. They did not light weapons. They did not retreat. They waited. Threx stood slowly. He walked closer to the screen, studying the enemy fleet. The ships were ugly in design, brutal, built without elegance. They looked like they were made to survive punishment rather than avoid it. "Who builds ships like this?" Threx muttered. The sensor officer spoke again, his voice tense. "Commander, our scans show something strange. Speak. These ships are heavily armored, far beyond standard levels, and we cannot detect their main weapons." A murmur spread across the bridge. Hidden weapons were dangerous weapons. Threx crossed his arms. Perhaps they are trying to scare us, but deep down, he was no longer sure. "Commander," the navigation officer said, "our fleet has slowed. The front lines are..." hesitating. Threx turned sharply. "Why?" "They are waiting for orders." Threx looked back at the silent ships. The enemy had done nothing. Yet his armada, his unstoppable force, had stopped on its own. That had never happened before. The alien fleet hovered in space, weapons armed, engines humming. Across from them, the human warships remained still. No lights flashed, no engines roared, no signals were sent, just silence. Threx felt it then. Fear. Not loud fear, not panic, a quiet fear. The kind that crawls into the mind and whispers that something is very wrong. "These ships," an intelligence officer said softly, "they are positioned to block the entire system." Threx's eyes widened slightly. Blocking a system meant confidence. Absolute confidence. "Who are they?" Threx demanded. The officer hesitated. "Our records show a developing species. Designation: humans." A low sound of disbelief echoed around the bridge. "Humans?" Threx scoffed. "They are new, small, divided." "Yes," the officer agreed. "But their history shows constant warfare, internal wars, endless conflicts." Threx stared at the screen again. The human warships seemed to stare back. A species that survived endless war did not build ships for beauty. They built ships to endure hell. Suddenly, one of the human ships adjusted its position. Just slightly, the movement was slow. Controlled. The alien bridge went silent again. "Commander," the weapons officer whispered. "They are targeting us." Threx clenched his claws. The targeting systems showed a terrifying truth. Every major human warship had locked onto the Zarkal flagship. Perfectly. No rush. No mistakes. They had been ready all along. Threx realized then that the humans had not appeared suddenly. They had been waiting for the Armada to arrive, waiting for this moment. And for the first time in his long career, High Commander Threx understood something clearly. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and now, standing before their silent warships, the alien Armada was no longer sure it wanted to find out what humans could really do.